Hello friends, my name is Alonda. Some of you have been following me for a little while on other social media outlets, and you know I like to cook and I like to talk to myself. Most of the things I cook are usually carnivore, but I do have one recipe that I have shared for years now for a white chicken chili that has actually won awards. I haven't entered it, but I've had two friends enter this recipe into a chili contest, and both of them won first place. I originally got the recipe from my sister, and I've kind of changed it and adapted it to my own tastes over the years, but I'm going to share it with you. It is super easy. I am, however, leaving out the onions in this recipe because I have learned through my carnivore journey that onions don't agree with me anymore. So we're gonna leave that out. I'll put it in the recipe in the comments, and I'm not putting it in mine. So we're going to heat up some olive oil. I do have about a tablespoon of olive oil and about a tablespoon of bacon grease because I like the flavor of the bacon grease. We're gonna add some garlic to that. I don't keep fresh garlic. I use the jar stuff. Don't worry about it, it's fine. It'll all be fine. But this is super easy recipe, as I've already said. But I got hot fast. If you follow me, you know that we have recently sold our house and moved into a fifth wheel RV. We have a pretty big house in Texas, and we sold it, so we decided to just travel all the time. I'm not doing this very well. I got one whole chicken that I roasted, deboned, chopped it up, and I'm just gonna add it to this garlic that's cooking. Just heat through a little bit. And then I'm going to add the seasonings. This recipe isn't carnivore because it does have seasonings, and I am putting the beans in it this time just because I like them. They don't like me much, but they're not as bad as the onion. I am adding a teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of cumin, teaspoon-ish. I measure that with my heart, kind of like most people do garlic. Teaspoon of oregano, and half teaspoon of cayenne pepper. You measure that with your heart too, just depending on how spicy you like it. And to that, I'm going to add one large can of chopped green chilies, if I can get them out of the can. We're going to add some chicken broth. Get everything out of the can. And I'm using white chili beans. If you can't find these, Great Northern beans or navy beans work just fine. Or you can do what I usually do and leave them out if you want to be more carnivore, because obviously beans are not carnivore. Anyway, I'm going to rinse that can out. I drained off the liquid before I put them in, but we're going to rinse the rest of it out with that chicken broth. Super easy. Now, we're going to let this, I forgot one thing. Ranch seasoning mix. I make my own. Got the recipe off Pinterest years ago. You don't have to. You can use the packaged stuff. If you use the packaged stuff, use the dip mix. Seems to have a better flavor, in my opinion. And use 1.5 tablespoons. So that's how much of this that I've made I'm going to use, 1.5 tablespoons. Anyway, now we just get all this mixed together and let it come to a boil. Super easy. You can cook your own chicken if you want. You can use rotisserie chicken, or if you want to make your own broth, just get some chicken breasts or chicken thighs or whatever, boil it, use that as your broth. If you want to be a purist about it. I'm not being that picky today, and I just wanted to make it fast. So, like I said, we're going to bring that to a boil, and then I will show you what else we're going to add, and we'll be right back. Okay, this is what it looks like. Starting to get hot. Pretty simple. It's super easy. I mean, literally you're just dumping stuff in a pot. These guys that use this recipe and won the chili contest, I'll bet the judges didn't know they just dumped a bunch of stuff in a pot. And I'm not going to tell them. All right, to this. The original recipe says to add sour cream. I've changed that up a little bit. I like to use the jalapeno flavored cream cheese. Just, it gives it, I don't know, better flavor in my opinion, and you know, a little kick of heat. Put that in. I'm gonna add about half a cup heavy cream. Mix that in and just heat it through. If you feel like it's not thin enough, you can always add more chicken broth or more cream, whichever you like. I probably would put more chicken broth in. But this is what we're working with. I don't have the fancy little hot plate like the TikTok people do. I actually use my stove, because my kitchen is much smaller. That's okay. Still gets the job done. And there you have it. We have chicken chili. Okay, I've let that simmer about 30 minutes to an hour. Let all the flavors get all nice and blended and melty, and it's still super hot. And let's give it a taste. Yeah, just as good as I remember. Let me know if you try it.